if you can make money off of like your art, you're winning. You're giving me your baby to try to turn into something, and you have to trust me for that.
Well, I feel like everyone's a photographer these days because everyone's trying to document their life. Mr. Casey Eiland.
Yes, sir.
What's up, dude?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, bro.
I've been trying to get you on for like a year.
I know.
Why didn't you want to come on and talk to me, bro?
What's nothing to do with you, bro. I don't know. So, just want to make sure I have, I'm able to give something. I want, whenever I listen to podcasts, I always want to like, the reason why I listen to them is to get something out of it. So I just hope that I'm able to share some knowledge or wisdom or, I don't know, offer
that's fair.
Something.
Well, the thing is, I want you on because like every time like we've hung out or I spent time with you, it's very inspirational, like the way you talk about, I guess, like your art form or like how you like create or your process of like just stepping up in like what you want to do and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, that's so sick. Like I want to be more like that guy.
Thank you. No, that means a lot. I definitely feel the same way about you.
Thanks, bro.
With your company and all the things that you're doing. So I guess it's surrounding yourself with like-minded people, but I'm not really like a big spotlight person. I'd say I just like, get it done, and then I let my work speak for me, and just
that's what's up, dude.
What
do you call it? Why do you think that is? There's a ton of photographers out there that they never really show themselves.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Because like, just like being behind the camera, not in front of it, I guess. It's just, I don't know, like personal preference. Like, models always want to be shot and like in front of the camera. It's just, I guess, your personality, I guess. And like photography is more like, for me, when I've been like really successful as a photographer, it's because I've been like a fly on the wall. And like, you're capturing those candid like moments, but you're not, people aren't really noticing or realizing that you're there, because once they do, their whole persona changes and like, it's not as like, so I guess we're just like better at being like off the radar. I guess that's just me personally, like speaking.
Why do you think that is? I didn't really think about that too often when like someone points a camera at you and I kind of get uncomfortable. Like
it's just that your own voice in your head is just I don't know, like for me personally, like I don't love being in front of the camera, but I guess it also just depends on the person that I'm shooting with too. If it's like a really if I feel comfortable, or if I don't know, if I'm getting like a picture taken, obviously I feel like I'm a little bit more photogenic, but as soon as you like realize it's happening, it's just, I don't know, human minds are weird, man. Like our ego,
it's just something, because some people go throughout their lifetime not thinking about that. It's just like they do get uncomfortable in maybe that situation when someone's trying to like videotape them in a space that they don't want them to be videotaped at, or just a photo, they don't feel comfortable with themselves, but they don't know that's why they feel uncomfortable like in front of the camera.
And I think a lot of it is just like, I don't know, like if you don't know how to pose or like how you look, how are you going to make yourself just like ready for that photo? And like people get in their head about it, and then all of a sudden they're like, dude, they're looking awkward or weird. But I think it's more like if you're just more like genuine, and if you don't really notice that someone's taking a photo, I feel like it's easier to get.
Dude, how do these people like learn how to pose? Because posing is hard. Like I've tried like just with like a camera and like trying to figure out like the angles of just hanging out with friends and stuff. Like I was like, I felt like I was leaning towards one hip and putting my hand and just like chilling there. And I was like, this is annoying. Like, let's try to pose. And this was probably like 3-4 years ago. And I was like, this shit's hard, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole thing in itself, definitely. And even like, for me, like I don't really shoot like engagement stuff, or like I have before, but
engagement like weddings.
Yeah, like engagement or like proposal, stuff like that, because like it's a lot of posing, and like you have to know, like people are really good at knowing how to pose people, but also just, I guess some people are just natural at it. But if you're bad at it, then it's just really like you got to know how to position people, and it's definitely a part of that job, is knowing how to pose people and get them right. But sometimes you just get with someone and they just like naturally just know how their bodies look, and but if you don't know, if you're not natural at it, it's definitely good to like have like poses in your head to be able to show to people.
How do you get, I guess, people who you shoot sometimes to get into, I guess, the vision or the pose that you want them to get in? Or like if they're uncomfortable and they're stiff, like what words do you say, or like what conversations do you have to get them to that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
like
totally know what
spot.
you mean, for sure. So I guess it's at the beginning, like just getting to know someone and just like kind of getting like that like flutters out. So like the beginning of the shoot, I feel like it can sometimes be like the most difficult because like the camera's just coming out and you're not like really sure how it's going yet or how it's vibing. But for me, like I really like natural movements. So like I'll just tell someone to like either like dance, like, or like little slight movements of like positioning their body differently, or like even just like first like just do like some jumping jacks and like just do some like jumping, or even like some like big like heavy breathing. Sometimes we'll get the jitters out, but it's tough, man, especially if someone feels uncomfortable. It's really difficult to like take a genuine photo of them. So just trying to break that barrier of like getting to know the person for real, and like I don't know, just, you know, I mean, I've always kind of, I guess, just been like good with people, so I like just make friends with them, and you just try to make them feel as comfortable as possible.
How do you, I guess, do you shoot with only friends, or do you shoot with only people in the industry who you worked with before? Because I feel like a lot of artists feel comfortable with like a certain photographer, and therefore they go back to that certain photographer every single time. Or I guess for you, certain restaurants, they already have their photographer, right? They built this relationship with them and they're going to use them every single time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's definitely a huge part of what I do, is like building the relationships, really. Because whenever someone like needs a photographer or a content creator of some sorts, they always will like reach out to me or like put my name out there. So like the relationship is really the most important part. And that's kind of where I base like all my things off of, like all the people I've shot with. I guess you'd say, like, even if they were just clients approaching me, they became friends. And like, it's because when we're doing stuff or I'm creating for you, it's usually a really important thing. Like you care about it a lot. So there has to be some sort of trust there initially. And that's really important for me too. Like, just to like, you're being super open with me, and you're giving me your baby to try to turn into something, and you have to trust me for that. So I think just building that relationship first, and then that kind of just pours over into everything else. So they'll, you know, then recommend you for things, and you know, you're that guy, and that's kind of like what I strive to be, is just be there for everyone. And
how do you deal with, so for example, like someone says they trust you with their baby, their business, their persona, their mood, like you could tell so many stories in a photograph, right? And what happens if, like, I guess their vision for this shoot and your vision of this shoot are like completely different, like they don't align?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, it's obviously, it's like it's tough when that happens, and I think it's really important to like line up your clients who you just gotta shoot with, like the style. They gotta know your style. Like if they don't know your style and they're wanting something completely different than what you usually shoot, I'd recommend probably just, you know, like recommending someone else or like passing on it. Like, so that was something for me, is especially starting as a photographer, like you just try to do everything. And I would like try to pick up, you know, I was shooting weddings, like, dude, I don't want to shoot a wedding. Like, I don't like shooting weddings. But I like, you know, you need to make money and pay bills. But there's something about like being able to say no and just be like, I know what my style is and I'm confident in that. And like, this is not my style. But I know someone that this is their style and this would be a lot better for them. And just being able to be okay with like saying no to things. But also, you know, if you do say yes and they think that they do like your style and then they don't, and then, I mean, I don't know if I've ever really had anyone, like, luckily, you know, knock on wood, but you know, there's people that I've shot with definitely for free before that we were like testing it out, and like our styles didn't match up, and they were like, hey, like your stuff is really great, but just not like necessarily for
what
us.
I'm looking for.
And then that happens, but just being able to like put yourself out there and just try and go for it. I mean, I learned way more than if I hadn't done it.
Can you articulate styles real quick? What do you mean by style?
Yeah, so like for me, like I have a very like bright poppy style of like a realism. Like I like super clear, like great quality photos. Like you could reach out and like, well, and especially for food photography, like just being able to like see the details and the ingredients. I like, you know, like macro photography. Like
paying attention to like every single placement of the spoon, the fork,
absolutely.
the piece of lettuce.
So I'm very bright and colorful in my style. There's people that love to shoot like dark and rustic. You know, it depends. Like I do love to go that route, but for me naturally, I'm just attracted to really bright colors. So I know that like, you know, I'm not going to work with someone that's like looking for a super dark, moody aesthetic when I'm like over here shooting like bright poppy colors.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, like I could, you know, I'm at a point where, you know, I'm good enough that I can modify my style, but I'd rather not have to do that. I'd rather just stick in my style of what I know. And then
technically that's your baby. Like
exactly.
that's what you've compromised to what people appreciate you for in your photos is like that style.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really important, especially like, well, what I've learned in my industry is that you can do a lot of different things and you can be like okay at a lot of different stuff, but as soon as you start to really like target in on like what you want to do and be more specific, like before I was just doing photography and like now like I'm very devoted to food photography and that's like my main thing. Like sure, I'll shoot portraits and I do creative stuff with like, you know, higher base clients, but it's not necessarily something that I'll say yes to. Like I'll definitely say no. But once you lock in that style of like what you want to do, I'd say you just kind of have to go for that and just like build that and get really good at it. And you know, that's how you move forward. I feel like in that industry.
I feel like that's with every industry, right? Specialize in something so you could be known for it.
Yeah, I mean, but just being like a master at a trade instead of like a jack of
all trades.
Yeah.
So I feel you. What do you call it, dude? Two things. Where did Mr. Eiland come from? And I guess like how did you pick up photography?
Yeah, so Eiland's my last name.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So,
it's with an E though, right?
So it's spelled E-I. So I just, Eiland was always easier and just, you know, it's not spelled crazy. Everyone misspells my name and pronounces it wrong. So for me, just like as an aesthetic, like even my dad's like, oh, you should change your last name to like Island. It'll be way easier and save you like a headache.
Your dad said that?
Oh yeah. And now like before I was like, nah, I don't want to change my last name, Dad. And like now I'm like almost like, I wish I could. I mean, I still could, but who knows? But yeah, so I just do like Eiland, regular Eiland.
Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of fitting. I'm an island boy, you know.
Mr. Eiland. No, it's a good name. It's very catchy, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, so it just, you know, it's given to me. Yeah.
And then, so that had nothing to do with photography?
No, it's just my name. So I feel like it's a catchy name and I could just put it into my, you know, creative life as well.
Heck yeah. It's definitely very creative, dude.
Yeah, and I am Mr. Eiland. So.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna have like little kids calling you, "Hi, Mr. Eiland, how you doing?"
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, they still, you know, sometimes it happens, man.
That's what's up. What do you call it? So how did you get in photography, bro?
Someone just handed me a camera one day.
Like one day when you were 10, one day when you were like 18.
Well, I mean, I always was kind of into it, but I'd say I really started getting into it when I was like 20. I'd say it was like right when I kind of moved out to California. Okay. And from Arizona. Okay. Yeah. And my roommate, I just had an extra camera and just gave it to me, and I just started shooting and just got like, I don't know, I just really loved it and would take it with me everywhere. And then what
attracted you to it?
Man, I'm not really sure. I think I've always just been attracted to photos and been able, like, you know, just loving to be able to see how people can just tell a story through a photo or just someone's interpretation of it. But photos are so important to people in our lives and humans. Like everything you look at nowadays, like there's a photo everywhere. So yeah, I just was always just so intrigued by them. And even when I got into film photography, so someone gave me a film camera. My mom's now husband gave me a film camera, and there's something about analog photography that just makes you just like love it. Like people that love film are obsessed with it. And like,
yeah, I had a film photographer on a while back, and I guess the biggest beauty that he said is like, you only get to capture it one time. Like you can't change and edit like on an iPhone or this and that. There's only so many like little boxes that you could just like flash a light in and actually put it on a piece of paper.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
that's why I love it, is because you only have a certain amount of frames and you really need to be more specific with what you want to shoot. You don't have a million. You can't just like spray and pray and hopefully you get something. Like you really have to
be intentional.
Yeah. So like one of my favorite photographers, Ansel Adams, was a landscape photographer, and he would sit there for hours and just wait for that one cloud. Ansel Adams, yeah. To wait for like one cloud to move right in front of a tree, and he'd be out there for 8 hours for one photo.
What?
And one frame, but he'd get that shot, but just sitting there and being patient and just like waiting and just the patience of it, you know? Like it teaches you a lot, and just to be a little bit more like diligent and just careful.
Have you ever done that before? Like waited for a perfect timing for a photo?
Absolutely. Not 8 hours, but but definitely, yeah, for sure. It's really important. And you hate when you're just like, as soon as you turn away and then all of a sudden the moment like gets
it just happened.
It's a game, you know.
That's crazy. Yeah. Do you think that that's something missing in today's world of photography, that patience in the art form or any other aspect of it?
I mean, definitely, like, the world's a big place, you know, and there's a lot of awesome, great content creators that are just crushing it right now. But I feel like in a fast-paced, you know, moving world that we're living in, we're just like, everything is just, you know, move quick, especially in LA, New York. I think sometimes being able to just like slow down and like take a breath and just appreciate the moment a little bit more and get that right photo. It's really important, you know. We're so connected and like phones and all this stuff. Sometimes it's better just to slow it down and just be patient.
Well, I feel like everyone's a photographer these days because everyone's trying to document their life. Like I'm guilty of it too. It's like anytime I take a photo, I'm like just straight like
spray and pray. That's what we call spray and pray,
bro. And
I do it too sometimes, bro.
I'm just like, there has to be one good one in there, right?
Whenever a girl asks me to take a photo, that's what I do. I just spray a million. I'm like, I know that there's 20 in there. There's one that's gonna be
and you really don't care at the point when you're trying to take a photo for someone. You're like,
exactly,
looks great, looks great
on the road. Or you know what's even better is like whenever I'm out and someone's like going to take, they're like, oh, Casey's a photographer, give it to him. I'm like, bro, just take the photo.
Dang, you've been hanging out on WeHo too much, bro.
Dude, like, you know, someone always, or just even my mom will always be like, Casey will take it. I'm like, no.
That's hilarious.
Sometimes I don't want to.
Isn't that crazy? So like, I feel the same way about bartending. Like someone's like, oh yeah, you could bartend my wedding, dude. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Like, yeah, for sure, man. Probably not.
I want to enjoy your wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Or people do that to me too. They're like, I want you to come and shoot my wedding, but I want you to be a part of it. I'm like, that's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
And they can't both happen.
They
like,
cannot both happen.
I'm working or I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy when I work, but I'm just like very serious and locked in. And it's just like,
yeah, you can't allow yourself to enjoy it too.
No, I'm not gonna go there and be like, you know, 4 beers deep and like talking to auntie and like, you know,
get some blurry photos, guys.
Exactly. I mean, some of them will be good, but you know, who knows?
What is, I guess, the creative part of photography for you? Because like someone who I guess isn't in the photography realm, right? They might just think, oh, you just look through a lens and you click. Like how creative is that?
I just buy a really expensive camera and
exactly.
It just does the work for me.
I'm saying some people might say that. So I guess like what's your response to that?
I mean, it's definitely way more than just that. And yeah, of course, like quality in your gear definitely can go towards things, but it doesn't matter if you don't have an eye for what you're doing. You know, being able to go out with someone that's really uncomfortable with themselves or really just has a tough time in front of the camera, and being able to go out and just like make really beautiful photos of them. So because like everyone has a good side of them, like visually speaking, like you can pull that out of them. Like a good photo of someone can happen, you know, and just being able to be in that like comfortable environment and just kind of get that genuine shot. It's not easy and it's not for everyone, you know. Like I think photography, I'm just very luckily, like just naturally, I feel like I'm just like good at it. Obviously, like I've had to learn a lot, and like there's technical stuff. Yeah, and I do it a lot.
Aperture, shutter speed, guys.
Yeah, all the buttons. But I mean, I do it enough too that it's just like become very natural
at this
for me,
point,
and I just feel very comfortable. But I feel like, you know, photography is so awesome because anyone can just pick up a camera and just start doing it, and you know, it's not good or bad. It's whatever you want to make it or interpret it. But I mean, you could give a camera to a 3-year-old and let them run around and they're going to come back with some photos. So.
Yeah. What do like good photos of people like do for them? Like what have you seen? What the reactions or like what have they said to you in terms of that?
I've definitely shot with people that had been like struggling with something in their life, or maybe like something internally for like confidence, or just, you know, wanting to try to like break out of their shell a little bit more, and asked me for shoots just because they wanted to be more free and just never felt comfortable. So being able to help them with that and like show them a beautiful side of them and also let them be like comfortable and free is really important. I feel like it can do a lot for your confidence, your self-esteem. You know, especially in a world nowadays where like everything is on Instagram and all the social media, you have all these thirst traps and all this like way, like how you're supposed to look kind of thing.
Yo, filters are wild, bro. There's some crazy filters out there.
Like it's, you know, it's not really authentic. So it's like, you know, having to feel okay in your own body and just be happy and confident in who you are. Yeah. I feel like if I'm able to help people feel that way, you know, I'm helping them.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I could speak for it. You made me feel that way, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a good looking cat, man. You weren't tough to shoot. And the funny thing is when we shot, we literally got it like in 2 seconds.
Less than a minute.
I know. I felt bad. I didn't want to like say it really. But
you were like, bro, this is it.
We already got it in the first 5 minutes. It's funny when that happens, but
I mean, it just shows too that like timing's a big thing too. Like the right lighting was great. The sun decided to come out that day or didn't come out that day.
Yeah.
Like
it just kind of worked out perfectly. And like when that happens, it's awesome. And sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Yeah. More times than often it doesn't. So you had some podcast gods on your side that day.
Yes, dude. If you guys don't know, Casey's responsible for the photo of the podcast. It looks very nice.
We love it.
You look like a superhero, bro.
No, you look great. It's like I think it serves everything for you, like the masculine,
thanks, bro.
The artists, but also the drinks are incredible too. Thanks, so I think that whiskey helped.
Yeah. What do you think inspired you to like, I guess, take the next, there's so many jumps, right, in like everyone's professional career, right?
Yeah.
And recently, it hasn't been a year since you've been full-time photography.
Yeah, it's a little over a year now. April of last year, I went full-time.
Congrats, bro. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Like that was super, when you told me that, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm inspired. I want to be in that spot in the next, like, I don't know how many years or months or this and that. It was really cool. When I heard that, I was like, congratulations, brother. But I guess before that, like, what inspired you to, I guess, like, I'm not just going to take photos for myself, but I'm going to take photos for other people. And then from taking photos to other people to, I guess, charging photos for those people. And then, I guess, rewind to just last year. Like, how about I spend all my energy and time and just do this one thing?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy, and it didn't just happen overnight. And I feel like my biggest thing that was stopping myself.
In what way?
God, it's just like it's with anything, like starting anything new, or especially like a business, especially like into your creative fields. You overgo mind battles. For me, like my internal voice sometimes is not the most positive, and it's just always fighting me. So it's definitely been something I've had to like work on in my past and continue to still to this day. Yeah. But I think for me, I always knew when I started shooting, I just got so much joy out of it that I wanted to continue. That's what I wanted to do all the time. I wanted to create for people and make, and just like be, I guess like kind of like be a famous photographer, that was like making money and just shooting all the time for like high valued like clients and magazines. And
when did you see that vision?
When I started picked up a camera and started shooting. I just immediately I wanted that. Yeah. And I mean, it was 8 to 9 years until I was full time just doing that, and that was happening. I mean, I was published like twice, but I'm not like anything. Like I'm trying to get into like be on like billboards and be in like big time magazines, and that's my initial goal. But I guess I always knew I wanted to be there, and then kind of just this long haul of like we were just talking about like shooting for free. Like I've shot so much for free just to get in that environment and make the connections and be seen, because the more I'm shooting, the more that camera's in my hand, the more likely I'm going to have opportunity to do that.
Just by reps, like just you're by exposed.
Reps, exactly. So putting yourself out there and like reaching out to people and be like, hey, I like your style, or hey, I really like your brand. Like this is I've come up with like this mood board, and this is what I would love to like shoot for you, or like really like taking control of the situation, or even like buying the brand. Like say you like loved a backpack and you really wanted to like shoot for them, so I'd buy the backpack and go and shoot it and be like, hey, listen, like, you know, this is what I can do, and you get to see, and I would love to like talk to you more and see how it would look for us to work together more in the future. But they just know right there, like, hey, this, you know, he put together these photos already, didn't even ask, like, has everything available, like this kid's serious.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So putting yourself in that spot, and then also just like going after it, you know. When I was serving and like shooting, I got really lucky with like the food stuff. Like I've always worked in restaurants, and like one day I was working for Wabi on Rose. I was serving there, and they were just like, oh, like you take photos, like you want to do a shoot for us? And so I did, and it went really well. And then, you know, they're like, oh, okay, like what does it look like if you just run our Instagram? So I'm like, okay, I've never ran Instagram, so like I didn't know like what to charge or what to do. So they were like, we'll pay you $500 for the first, like, for the month.
Sure. And in your head was like, this is so cool.
I was like, yeah, like this is amazing. Like I'm getting paid to shoot, and like people want my work. And I knew it could be something awesome. And they were like, yeah, if you can get our account to, I think it was like 5,000 followers, more followers in 3 months. Like we'll talk about like paying you more.
Oh,
and
shit.
like really stepping on. And I like did it in a month and a half. And then doubled it by the 3 month mark.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then so I was like, oh, well, you guys said you're gonna pay me more, so they did. So then it was just able for me to like establish this, like, you know, how much I was going to charge them and what the deliverables look like. So I was able to like start to build a package. And
this happened all naturally.
It happened naturally. Exactly. I never was like, oh, I'm going to go shoot for restaurants, and like food photography is the realm I want to be in. I never had done food photography. So it was all new. And then a client saw, and someone else saw what I was doing, and they like reached out to me. So then I got, you know, then I get my second client, and then the place that's around the corner know me, and so then third client. But so then it kind of just started to snowball, and I was serving and shooting. Like I had 2 clients, and like just being overworked. Like I was booking a lot of stuff, and you know, it seemed like it would be the good time to jump away from serving, but there's something about like the safety net and just like not knowing like what's gonna happen. So I was at work one night on a Friday night, and I had a really bad night. Like I was just failing my team. Like I just like wasn't in it, and I just had been I was just like so tired of like serving. Like some lady like asked me for like 1 million sides of spicy mayo, and I went back there and I like dropped one of them, and like splashed all over me, and I was just like fuck this, bro. Like what am I doing? So I had a shitty night, and then like at the end of the night,
spicy mayo slaps though, guys.
Dude, it does slap, and not when it's all over you, bro.
I know.
Yo, and ask your server for everything at once, okay? Don't ask them 1 million times.
Be polite out there, guys.
Back. All right, jeez.
Isn't that funny that like only people who've ever worked in restaurants will understand that?
Dude, it's like I've been over here 6 times, and you just thought of like now you need a refill on your Coke. It's been empty. I mean, maybe I should have brought it over before, but anyway. So my friend, one of the hostess, Jess Kier, I love her.
Shouts out
if you're listening. But she came up to me and she looked me dead in my eyes, and she was just like, Casey, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
She's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not happy here. Like, you have everything that you need to go and make the jump. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not happy here. Like, you're right. Like, my overall level of happiness was just like just wasn't there. And so I went and I put my 2 weeks in right then.
Right then and there.
Put my 2 weeks in, and I didn't look back. And thank you, Jess, because I don't know if I was like would have happened then. I'm sure it was bound to, but just initially just taking that jump, man. Like I feel like especially in the industry, serving industry, restaurant industry, it's very easy to get comfortable there. Yeah. Because you can make the cash. Yeah. And
it's quick.
It's quick, and it works with the schedule, especially with the creative schedule, you know? And I'm not talking down on it at all. It helped me build all my connections, and it's given me what I have now. But it's easy to get comfortable and complacent because you know you're going to fall back on that Friday night shift, and you're going to go and make $250. And at that point for me, I was on Copilot. Like I was not a good server, bro. I was like, oh, like, you don't know what you want? Cool. I'm coming back in 5 minutes. Like, oh, what's your favorite thing? My favorite thing's not your favorite thing. Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, just tell me what you want.
I respect some of those servers though.
It depends on the person. Like sometimes I'd be like, okay, like, you know, they want you to like tell you their life story. I'm like, I'm not, you know, like maybe yes, some servers are super personable and like that's how they make their money. And for sometimes I would be, but I was just to the point of like, I just didn't want to be there. So, it was important, man. So I just had to make that jump. You know, that
dude, it's so important to have friends like Jess, because I feel like the best friends out there are people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Especially.
And it's just like kind of funny like that, because you might view yourself differently than I guess like most of the people around you. You know, like
always. I think anyone can agree to that attest for sure.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have those people around you though, like you might not be out of the hospitality industry or X, Y, and Z, you know?
I think that's, you know, also like what we're talking about earlier about like being careful about who you surround yourself with, and birds of a feather flock together. I think it's really true. And especially like as you get older, you start to realize that like you don't need as many friends. And I'd rather have one really good friend than a bunch of like, you know, people that aren't really my friend. I know that any one of those really close people to me, I pick up the phone, and no matter what it is, they're going to be there for me, and there's value in that.
Yes, I 100% agree with you, but like I guess the spaces that we are in, it's kind of contradicting, because like we're trying to make friends with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a difference between like friend and acquaintance. Like I'll definitely like show up and be a friend and acquaintance to people, especially like in the business world. Like you got to show face, you got to wear that mask and play that part. It's really important for the networking. But I'm not, you know, it really just depends like how many close people are in your life. But like for me, like I try to keep that circle small so it's more authentic and real.
And I feel like telling so many people about the same fucking story every single time. So I mean, it just depends. Like it's good to have a lot of friends, and it's important for the history too. Like a long friendship, they will know each stage of you in your areas of life.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's important.
How did you get the, I guess, like courage or confidence to go out and put yourself out there and say like, hey, here's a mood board, like I think we could do this, or buy the backpack and take, like that takes some balls, dude.
It's tough, especially like going and like walking into places and trying to meet people and just like sell your art.
That sounds so scary.
It is scary. And like honestly, it's taught me a lot about myself and just you know, it teaches you perseverance, because like if I can walk into a place with a smile on my face and get denied, and leave that place with a smile and the same attitude, and walk into the next place, and one of those people are going to say yes, I mean, I'll take those 75, I'll take those 125 no's for that one yes. And just like,
where does that come from, dude?
It's tough. I don't know. Like I'm the most, I struggle with like having like confidence and like being like
most people.
But it's like most people, right? But it's like,
it's a human thing.
One thing I'm really good at is like making myself do things, or like putting myself in uncomfortable positions of like trying something. Like I'll very seldomly say no, just because a part of how I really love to live my life is through experience and by saying yes. And because by saying yes, it allows you like just opportunity and more doors open. Like there's been so many times where I've been tired and like haven't wanted to go places, and I should have, you know, I could have said no and I wanted to, but like I said yes, and I met amazing people, or like landed a huge opportunity that, you know, wouldn't have happened. Yeah, exactly. That's happened many times. Like one of my favorite clients, Moxie. You know Moxie.
Yeah. My ex-girlfriend danced for Moxie, and I was like shocked, because I think like a month or two later, like Casey posted a photo, and I was like, no, that's so sick. It's funny how like the avenues are like aligning, because
it's a small place.
They're totally different, like outside.
Yeah, no, it's true too. But so just like, how that happened was my friend hit me up. I didn't even know who I was going to shoot, and she called me an hour before, and I was like on the beach in Manhattan Beach, and she's like, hey, can you drive out to like Middle Earth?
Wait, so she just hit you up?
Just one of my friends. Okay. Just that. So she was, I guess, a client of her and has worked with her before. She works in the industry.
Sweet.
And she was like, yeah, do you have time? Can you go out there? And I'm just like, fuck it. Like, why not? Let's do it. So
where's it at? Just like in the desert?
I drove to like
something?
it was a party. It was like a event, and that she needed like a photographer to be photographed at. And like, I didn't know any of this. So I got an address, and I pulled up and like met Moxie for the first time, and we shot together, and we just clicked. Like it felt really good, and we got amazing stuff. So that has led me to like shooting campaigns with her now, and like just being a part of her creative team. Yeah, exactly. Like she'll reach out to me and just like, you know, book me for stuff, and just being able to have her as like a contact and someone that keeps coming back to me at such a, like, she's a superstar, you know. That was all because of that. Like I didn't say no that one time, which I could have. I had no information. It was like, I think I did it for like $100. Like, yeah, like all the things were like, bro, you're gonna drive like an hour to meet someone you've never met, but like, and that has allowed a lot of other opportunities too. So.
Do you even think about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go? Because there's like a lot of people out there who will run them past their head, and they will just like, that sounds like a horrible drive. Yeah. Like I'm getting, like, I'm spending just as much gas as the amount of gas I'm going over there, and they'll convince them out of it quickly. Like, I guess, like, what made you just like lean to the yes side like so precisely?
I think like my experience working in this industry and doing what I have is those yeses lead to a lot more things. Sure. And just making yourself available is a huge part of it and very key, because people can call me and know that like we're gonna go shoot. Sure. Like you're gonna book something with me, we're gonna get it done, and it's gonna happen quick, and I'm gonna get your photos back quick, and you're gonna be able to put your stuff out. Yeah. Availability is huge. So being like, Moxie's literally called me before, like, obviously this is not ideal, and don't do this to your photographers or videographers, but she'll like call me like an hour before and be like, hey, oh my god, I'm so sorry, but like, can you drive to freaking Pasadena for a shoot? Like, yeah, like I'm gonna make it happen. Like, well, obviously, like, you know, like sometimes, you know, you're not always able to make it happen, but for the most part, like I'm gonna move stuff around
to make
things happen, because that's what separates me from a lot of other people, for one, and just makes me more desirable as
so desirable. Yeah. There's this one guy, do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
I don't think so.
So he's just like big business guy on like social media right now, big on entrepreneurship. He's like wrote a couple books and just really good content. And he was just talking about how to like make businesses better. And he was like, for most of them, he's like, make it faster, period. It's like, hey, if someone will pay a dry cleaner more, if like, can you get it back in an hour?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
such value in that.
All you have to do is like make yourself available and be willing to overnight get their shit back, or like drive 30 minutes right on the dot, because now you're like dependable and you did it, and now they know you can do that, and therefore you are more valuable, and therefore they will book you more.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how good does it feel like after you did a shoot and like you put so much time and dedication, then you get the photos back immediately. Like you get home and the photos are waiting for you. Like it just shows, one, like your efficiency as like a photographer, a videographer. And it just makes you like, no one wants to wait. Like whenever I hear stories of photographers like waiting like weeks for like just to get like the first round of deliverables, I'm like, no one wants that, man. Like they want to see their photos.
No
like,
way you're that busy to do that.
I mean, if you are, like, good for you, but like you shouldn't be. For me personally, like I wouldn't book out if I was that busy. Like
it's like you want to give quality work because this is a representation of who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that, you know, staying in your lane of just like knowing how much you can take on, and like being so like, that's really important for me. Like if I can't deliver right away and it's because I'm overbooking other things, like you're not focusing on your just one client. You're like, now you're getting distracted by the other one, and it just like, what does that mean to this one person that's waiting on stuff? Like it just doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. And like, take care of your people, really take care of it, move on to the next one.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. What does creativity do for you?
Oh man. I mean, it's like, creativity is just life, man. Like whatever it is that developed, like whatever this is just like, that's what gives, like, fuels me. It's just the beauty of the world. And like, for me, like creativity, it's an interesting word because it's so tough to place. Like, how do you describe like just like creativity, or
what does it mean to you? I guess, like, what's your definition of it, if you had to describe?
Yeah, for me, like creativity is just being myself and being authentic. I mean, it's so hard to say what I think it
through
is.
Probably like a lens, through your, I guess, creative lens, right?
Yeah, so I feel like everyone's creative in their own way, like depending on like what passes through your mind every day or like what you're just thinking of. But like for me, for instance, like when I just sit and daydream, like I'll think of like videos or like pictures or just like things that I want to create, like shoots that I want to do or aesthetics, or like whenever I listen to a song, like I'm always seeing like videos or like moving pictures in my head when it's being sung, and everything is kind of just like painting that picture. So for me, like I think,
turning those into like real life.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm not answering the question. How would I define the creativity? I think it's just expression, really. Yeah. I think that's how I would define it. And depending on what that is, it looks different for a lot of people. Sure. But I think creativity is expression of yourself.
Yeah. And I guess like for you, it's expressing it in the photos that you create.
Photos, but not only just photos. Like, I mean, everything, just expression of life, you know, like I you know, relate to like the photos and the videos, and that's my form of expression and creativity. But you know, it could be expressed in other ways, like music or painting, verbal communication, like I don't know, there's so many things, you know. But yeah, for me, I'd say that my definition would be like
expressing yourself,
self-expression, definitely.
I feel like it's important to do that, because I feel like there's individuals out there who don't express themselves, and I just can't see like my life do that, because like me expressing myself through this podcast or through a cocktail or through a conversation with someone else, you know, like empties my, I guess, like emotional tank. Like if imagine you kept that all in and you couldn't express yourself.
I think it's dangerous, you know?
Like, I feel like that's why some people explode. That's why people get angry. Like, I don't remember the last time I snapped or got yelled at a person. Like,
I think that, especially with men, for instance, like being able to express yourself and like emotionally too, like, you know, men are like, oh, like you shouldn't cry or like stuff like that. And I feel like that's when you're the strongest, is when you allow yourself to be vulnerable in that way. And I think there's more strength in that than someone that's keeping it up and pent up inside. There's strength in being vulnerable, and that doesn't, you know, that's not expressing my weakness, because like I can show you my strength if we need to go that route too. But you know what I mean? But
don't
it's
fuck
not
with Casey, guys.
But it's not
let
like,
him show you.
You know, there's something about there's strength in being weak and vulnerable, for instance, you know what I mean?
There's this Jordan Peterson quote. He was like, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's basically, be a dangerous man, but don't allow the world to see it, basically. He's like,
I think I know what quote you're talking about. I forget how it goes, but it's like, I'm capable of being like violent and being aggressive. But there's strength in like being able to like have control over that and not just
use it.
Exactly. You know, but like you have it if you need it.
Being able to like use your words and like articulate your thoughts in a way that could calm down a person, or just be able to read the room and just have a little bit of patience, you know, to where like, oh, this is gonna calm down, like we're good.
I feel like the people that express themselves like that, or like violently, or quick to that, are the weakest ones, essentially. Like I really you don't have control over your mental, you know.
I feel like the reaction times of like a lot of people, especially me too, like I always used to get offended easily, and I would react with the most immediate thought, versus like if someone said something that is disrupting you in your body, or like you're not liking what they said, versus of just saying the first thing that comes to your mind, just let it sit. Like, what did they mean by that? Am I interpreting it in a way that is incorrect? And then like responding in a logical manner versus the first thing that comes to your head. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, I feel like you lose you lose the battle when you just overreact and, you know, you're giving up essentially.
What are you most excited for in your life right now, bro?
Oh man, a lot of things. Things are good. Things are happening right now. I'm really, I'm in this grind. I'm about to be 30, so that's also exciting. I turn 30 on the 30th of this month.
You're being Paris.
I'm being Paris,
that's exciting.
I'm stoked. So it's like, you know, it's like a golden birthday. I'm just excited to just be able to like, we'll go out there for one, but I don't know. 30's crazy, man. It's like I don't
why
feel
do you say
30.
it's crazy?
I feel like
we're just kids out here still, bro.
I feel like a kid, bro. I feel like
we also live in a world where like being a kid as like a 50-year-old is still okay.
Yeah, exactly. I just
like these creative spaces, dude. It's a wide range.
Yeah,
you'll run into
sure.
50-year-olds like just creating shit.
It's a different day nowadays. Like, you know, before I feel like you're 30 and like you're like have a kid at this point and you like or you know have a house with a picket fence and like.
Does that sound good to you though?
No, that's why I haven't done it. I'm like, I'm not the blue collar way. And like, you know, there's a very traditional way of like, you know, like my father is older and like he has that traditional way. He's like, I want you to go to school and you get your degree and then you like graduate and then you like get married and you have a house and you have a kid and you have a yard and a dog and then you work and then you retire and then you die. Yeah. And like, that's a very traditional sense, and I feel like we live in a very untraditional world nowadays, and that's just not.
Do you think it's the entire world, or do you think it's like the circles that we surround ourselves with?
I mean, it's tough for me to say because I mean I grew up here in the United States, so I don't know like traditionally if that's you know how it is in other countries, but I feel like especially for my generation and yours, like if you didn't go to college, like it's kind of like you didn't go to high school kind of thing. Like everyone went to college, like. You know me, I went for a little bit, I dropped out. Like I always had to like pay my own way also, so I didn't have like as much opportunity, which is not an excuse. Like my siblings didn't have that either, and most of them graduated college too. But it's just a very traditional way to go about your world and your life. But I'm not a very traditional person, so I feel like you know when we reflect on you know 30 and like where should you be, and I hate that because it's like. You are not the same as anyone else and like your path and your trajectory is just it's going to be different and I think comparing yourself to others is like it's not good.
Comparisons with
you should not do it, and it's tough especially with all the social media and like I'd be doing that all the time. I'd be looking at these big artists that I like are so inspiring and I'm just like fuck man, what am I doing? Like I suck.
Why am I not there yet?
Why am I not there? And like you know, you're always going to have your different stages, but
there's always so many, there's people who look up to you in the same way.
And that's the thing is like, if, you know, like past me, or if I was talking to past me right now, you know, that was like 5-6 years ago, they would be very impressed and very happy and very grateful, and which I am. So it's good. Sometimes you just got to remind yourself, like, you're never happy, you're never satisfied, but it's good to embrace those moments and celebrate the wins. Like you've come far. We both have come far, like in your business, your podcast, like look at this, like you've done so many things, like from when I first met you.
I know, it was a long time ago. You know, we know each other for like 3 years now.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's like, when do we ever like Casey, like good job, man. Like you're fucking killing Nate. Like good job, bro. Like you're killing it. Yeah. You know, it doesn't feel like
I think we're riding like a similar like frequency right now. Yeah. In the sense that we're seeing each other's like small wins, and then you're like, oh, that's dope, like I need to do that too, and back and forth and this and that. And it's super inspiring because I feel like it's good to surround yourself with people who are like on the same journey as you are and not way below you and not way past you too. Because like you kind of have, I don't know, a running buddy. You know?
Especially with that, you'll never keep up. But also it's good though, I feel like, to have yourself with people that are like doing more, like higher. Like surround yourself with those people because you're gonna get there, and they're gonna bring you with them.
It's like you get a little taste. Exactly. Back to what you said with like Moxie and everything. Like, yo, people vibe with people. It's like it doesn't matter like how much money you have, or it doesn't matter like what car you're driving, what house you have. Like, people fuck with people, and they'll bring you or like want to hang out with you or X, Y, and Z, and like just you being there, like you'll learn something. Yeah,
I agree. It's putting yourself around those people. Like if you want to be rich, like go hang out with rich people. Like if you want to be in those environments with like successful business people, like wake up and go to like pay for an Equinox membership and wake up at 5:30 and go to the gym.
You'll see
and,
them there.
See who's in there. Exactly. Talk to those people, make those connections.
Put yourself in that environment.
Exactly.
You know, like if you want those things, you have to do those things that those people do.
Absolutely.
You know, the gym thing is a great example. It's like, these motherfuckers aren't here at 10. Like, they're in their office already, bro, or doing their thing.
Exactly. And I think it's, you know, you want to be like those people, act like those people, you know, do those things, study how they move and how they operate. And try to, you know, do it in your own life.
Yeah,
for sure.
Going back to like what you're excited for right now, what's the next steps in terms of like, I know you have this vision of like being on billboards and like on magazines and stuff like that. Like, do you have like a solid, I guess, game plan to get there? Or is it just like do the best work I can and continue to do the best work I can?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of been kind of all over the place leading up to this point, but I think it's important to get dialed in on the future and targeted a little bit more and like precise. So I definitely have visions and dreams and opportunities that I want to go for. So like right now, I'm really in the food photography world, and I'm gonna keep.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep riding that wave and see where what happens with it, because I signed my 4th client. And you know, it happens. They come in waves. Like I've lost clients, I've gained clients. Like it happens, but it's exciting when you get to like a certain point.
Sure.
And you know, these people, they're reaching out and they want to work with you, and they're using your name. And so that feels really good right now, and I want to keep that up. Like I kind of want to be the food photographer, videographer, creator in LA at least. You know, I kind of have, you know, Venice. I've been like locked in over there. It's a small community. And I'm very fortunate that it takes care of me, and a lot of my stuff has been word of mouth for the most part.
Yeah.
So
kind
of
the best things come word of mouth.
Exactly. Like people, they keep you connected and they plug you in, especially when they see the value in what you do. And I think just for me, it's like I continue to create that, and I don't know. I think like for me, eventually, like I'd like to have a space where, you know, like I'm bringing other people in to help create. So I have like, I guess they'd say like an agency of people where like I have this many clients, and then I can now hire other people to come in and like do what they love to do, and also be able to pay them. And everyone's happy, man. Your clients are happy. Your friends. I have a lot of creative friends that shoot a lot too. But even just being able to like bring people on board, and just like let them express themselves is really cool. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, and to like I guess grow from each other and learn from each other in that aspect too.
Yeah, it's cool. So I mean, definitely that, trying to continue to like get more clients and be kind of like that food photographer name in LA.
How did you get into food photography? I mean, you got in through the restaurant.
Yeah, through Wabi actually.
Through Wabi. And I guess like what made you enjoy it so much? Because you're taking photos of food that just people consume.
Dude, food photography is so fun. Like when I see a good food photo or a good cocktail photo, like, and you can appreciate this too. Like good drink photography, I don't know, maybe I am weird, like, but it excites me. Like it gets me going just because there's so much that goes into it. Like the
feeling that people get from when there's like a beautiful like piece of, I don't know, steak.
Yeah, like some potatoes. Like, oh my gosh.
You know, and then gorgeous. There's like a great like cocktail right next to it. And I'm just like, oof, that I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm excited, I want this right now.
Yeah.
Like the fact that just a photo of it, not even the smell, not even like the ambiance, like just a photo makes you like go to that spot.
Yeah. I think that's the coolest part is like if I can make someone hungry through a photo or like thirsty or like salivate, that's sick. Like,
it's real though.
Yeah, no,
it's real.
That's I guess how you know you're good is, you know, like how appealing are you making it look. And then also like, I mean, this isn't just with the food, but just like reflecting other people's artistry, because the chefs are making that. They have their own art that's going into it. So basically just being a mirror for them and just reflecting what they're creating is really cool for me as well.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because like food itself is an art, you know, like all the cooking. And I would say it's like one of the hardest arts because
I'm horrible at cooking.
It's like you have to make it taste good, but also you have to make it look good. Because if it tastes good but doesn't look good, it still doesn't taste good.
I can't taking a photo of something that looks like horrible is tough. It's really tough. But you know it's going to taste delicious, but that doesn't help the cause.
It doesn't matter. Like imagine just seeing like the most disgusting like taco, like looking taco, and you're just like, it might taste great. It might taste absolutely amazing, but that doesn't look amazing.
That's the other thing too, is like being diligent with that. Like I've had like dishes come out and it's just like something that's just like crazy looking. Like I had this one mushroom dish that I would shoot at Wabi, and the chef like always wanted me to shoot it. And he had these like little crispy rice things in there, and they literally look like maggots, like actual like worms. Tastes great, compliment the dish. Amazing. How it looked, look like worms in the dish. I'm like, we cannot put this out there. Like, and it's like, what? I'm like, maybe if it was like Halloween, it was a Halloween dish, like perfect. But, and then having to go to chef and be like, hey man, sorry, like, you know, your dish, it tastes good, but it doesn't look good. And we got to shoot something else.
Did you say that?
I didn't say it. I had someone else. Yeah.
Dude.
You got to, especially with chefs, like they have such big egos. And like, especially when you start to work in like higher restaurants, like they're just such babies, bro. Yeah. So you have to have that one voice of reason that just kind of has those conversations with them to go and do it.
That's crazy because like, it's a two-way form for that art. Like you have to make it look good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is like sometimes people, they don't really realize they'll just be making stuff, but it's like, bro, we're taking a photo. Like
do you ever think why humans think something looks good versus not?
That's a really interesting question.
Because for example, like someone might have jeans up to their chest and they're just like strutting, they're rocking it, but then like someone's like, that's a disgusting photo, like that looks horrible. Like people's tastes, right?
Yeah, I think it's personal experience. So like whatever I think like growing up and like, you know, depending on like what shows you're watching and like what taste you develop, you know, I feel like that goes into like what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, so like I guess back to that mushrooms photo, right? So say someone's had it like 1,000 times and all they associate that dish with is the most tasty fucking mushroom dish. Yeah. And they look at that photo, even though it looks like it has maggots on it, they're just like, wow, like I want it right now.
Yeah, they still probably hopefully really want it still. But I don't know, if they haven't tried it, like I guess it's a tough sell, you know?
Yeah. But like, is it because, am I salivating from this burger because I've had a ton of burgers?
Maybe. Yeah, you already know those mushrooms are going to be dank, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it just depends. Like, maybe you just love mushrooms and you don't care that there's, like, maggot-looking things all around it.
I don't know, dude. It's crazy. Style, music, all that shit is confusing me sometimes. It's like, why don't I like this artist when all my friends do?
Yeah, it's just personality, experience, taste. Yeah.
But like, then what is good and then what is bad?
I don't think there's any like real distinction of that. You know, I think that it all can be interpreted differently, and you know, sometimes what I like isn't what other people like. Yeah.
What do you think that comes from? I guess like in the social media world, because obviously a large group of people will agree that this one thing or this post or this person is worth their attention.
Yeah, I think it's just developing something that you believe in yourself and that you really like, and then, you know, it's tough to say if other people are going to like it, but if you do get some sort of feedback on it and people do like it, then chances are that there's more people like that out there, and that you should put it out. Yeah. But I think the best thing is just like trying it and experiencing it and seeing if, you know, like for me, like I throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. Sometimes like you don't know what you're doing or how, but I just do it just because, and you just see what works. You're like, okay, like this is what people are vibing with, or like they like this a little bit more, so I'm gonna do a little bit more of that. Or like just experimenting, I think is really important. Sure. Yeah.
What do you call it? What's the importance of putting things out there? Because there's a lot of artists in the world. Maybe we'll go to photography. They've taken, I know personally this one physics professor at UCLA, he used to be my client, and he did astrophotography. Yeah. Right. And he would bring his telescope out. He would bring the scope camera, sit under the stars all night and take these amazing fucking photos. Yeah. No one in the world is ever going to see them besides his like friends and family. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, like this is insane, you know? And there's a ton of people who've written books, but only their best friend has read it. Yeah. Or written songs, and no one has seen it. Yeah. You know, like what is the importance of putting out the work?
Yeah. I mean, it really just depends on the person. Like, I think that in itself is so beautiful. You know, it's what does it do for you? Like, does it bring you joy? Like, I'm sure that taking those photos brings that man such joy, and he loves going out and having that experience under the night sky, and like packing his stuff up and getting in his truck and like putting on that song that's like you're gonna go out to the desert with, or wherever you're watching the stars, and that's what he loves, and that's why he's doing it, is because he loves it and not because he cares about what other people are gonna think of it. And I think there's a beauty in that, you know. And so you just ask yourself, like, what do you want from this? Like, is it just making you happy, and are you okay with that? Or Are you wanting to share it? You know, like some of those things I think are so beautiful. Like there's been photos that I've taken that I absolutely love, and I'm just like, I'm not going to put it out there. Like maybe it's just not along with like my current style or like what my followers are into, but I really enjoy it. And I do it for me. So I think that if you're just doing it for the joy of it, it doesn't really matter too much as long as you're just like fulfilling that. But if you're,
don't you think it's a disservice to the world not seeing that quality of work?
Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, you know, beautiful things don't ask for attention. Like if things happen,
beautiful things don't ask for attention. I love that, bro.
They don't. And I think it's important. Like if you get happiness from it, like so I have a favorite photographer. Her name is Vivian Myers.
Vivian Myers.
Yes. Okay. She's incredibly popular now, but she didn't get popular until after her death. So she went her whole life shooting and died. She was a nanny, and this was like in the early 1900s. So it was right when cameras were pretty much coming into the likes of just normal people. And she was a nanny when go through her days of like just photographing. Anyways, cut to like, you know, like 1987, and someone bought a storage unit and went through all the stuff and found like cases and cases of her film went through it all and like had it developed and was like, this is like the greatest photography we've ever seen.
Wow.
Got it all developed and like put it like got in contact with the museum, and then all of a sudden she's like a famous photographer that people are clamoring to get their hands on her stuff, and she blew up, you know, and that was, you know, back in the early 1900s, and that's now crazy. She's finally getting her recognition, but she went her whole life taking photos and like no one ever saw it and no one ever knew who she was, but now she's one of the most famous photographers that's ever lived, and she will never know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, dude.
It's crazy. She's one of my favorites, man. And just because the way she captured moments, people didn't really know what cameras were back then, so it was easy for her to get those genuine moments.
Yeah.
And she shot on like kind of like, I don't know if it was like a Hasselblad or a Mimiya, but it's when you look down at. So like,
oh, the one here and then shoots that way.
So like as soon as like when you're photographing and you bring that up to eye level, like people are going to notice that, and they are like looking and like, okay, like something's happening.
Sure.
But if I'm down here and I'm holding something, like it's very like inconspicuous. Like people don't really notice. Yeah. So she got these like genuine, just beautiful photos of just like real moments that were happening in like her world.
And they didn't even they weren't put on because looking down there, just those type of photography, you don't really know.
And people didn't really know what cameras were at that point. It wasn't popular enough. So like people didn't know they were getting their photo taken or even knew what that was. Yeah. And so it just allowed for these just like, just amazing photos. Oh yeah, definitely. Like very impressive. Very cool story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
So we were talking about the importance of putting your work out there.
Yeah.
So I feel like it depends on like what you're wanting. Like if you're fulfilled by just doing it, and going through those motions, that's good. But if you're also or someone that aspires to be like a photographer and you want to make money off of it and do things, like I think it's really important to put your work out there. I
feel like you need to
put it out there
for that. Yeah.
Don't care what people think. You know, especially when I started, I was doing it because and I still do. I mean, I do it because I love it, but I was just creating just to create, and I didn't care like how many likes it got or how many people were following me. That stuff didn't matter. It made me happy, and I was putting it out there, and I feel like what I was creating was just like showing like beauty in the world, and that's important to me too. So I want to be able to show people the beauty in the world, especially like, dude, from Arizona, like growing up, like bro, like we didn't have money. Like I never thought I was going to be like able to travel and do things, but like I've been to a lot of different countries. I've had like amazing experiences that like I've been able to like create for myself, and like being able to show people, like show my mom a picture of something, like, you know, 'cause she might not be able to go to this place, or like be able to hike to the top of this like crazy glacier in New Zealand. I can bring that back and be like, Mom, look, like this is where I was, and I took this photo, and like,
and she's living vicariously through you in that instance.
Exactly.
Like, like you're part of her.
Yeah. And that's essentially like what you're doing, like taking a photos. I'm just showing the world like a view through like my lens. You know?
How did you get that mindset of like, I'm just gonna put it out there because it does it for me. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about like what people say about it. Like where does that go away? Because everyone feels that way at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one, man. And you go through a lot of battles internally, especially like in the art world. You're very vulnerable, and like a lot of those pieces that you put out mean a lot to you. And if I'm judging that work over the amount of likes I get on Instagram when it's like that system's rigged anyways. It's like you shouldn't base your work off of that. It's not a real scale of like your
basing
work
your
and the
joy
beauty.
and happiness off an algorithm.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. So I think that in order to be successful, especially in the art world, is you have to have confidence in yourself and you have to have confidence in your art, especially if you're wanting to get paid too. Like, how am I going to charge this ridiculous price if I'm not confident in myself, or if
you're not a fan of yourself,
if the client senses some sort of like, weakness, or like, I'm charging this amount because I know I'm that good, and this is what it's gonna. And if you want to get it done right and correctly and well, you're gonna want to pay that, and that to you is valuable, and you want to invest in that. If I'm like, go to somewhere and like, oh, like it's a big project, like, oh yeah, I can do it for like this amount, I'll do it for like $300. I'm like, well, first off, like, you're charging that, like, are you not super confident in like what you're doing? Like, obviously you don't value yourself as much as you should. Like, something starts happening in my head. I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, they're not, like, how is this, what's the outcome of this going to be? Like, if you're confident, if I'm working with someone that's confident in themselves and they know exactly what they want and what they want to charge, I'm going to be more like, okay, like, I trust this process and I want to work with you.
Also, like, you get reassurance, like that confidence, and like, okay, I get this. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. Yeah. Versus like someone who may know way more about it, but they're just not confident in themselves. Like, I feel like they have the potential to be there, but they got to learn to believe in themselves.
Absolutely, it's so important, and it's not easy. And like, trust me, like I've always struggled with it. I still do. Like, it's just using the tools that you've learned, so like right now, like I'm about to start like coaching, like one of the first times
for photography,
just life and like just like career in general. Like, I know,
like life coaching,
life career coaching. Like I think it hasn't been something I've ever done, and it's something that someone suggested to me. And why not? Like, why not try something new? Like, everything is working right now. And I feel like in order to continue growth and keep going, you have to try new things. You have to change stuff up. You have to, put yourself out there in an uncomfortable place. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable for me. I'm going to be vulnerable, but, hopefully it works. But if it doesn't, hey, I tried something new, and I know it doesn't work now. I tried it.
Or like, how cool is this? Like, if I didn't try this, I wouldn't have been doing this, and it's so cool.
And if it doesn't, like, cool. But now I know. I'm not like sitting here wondering, like, what if? Like, if I would have tried that, like, if I would have done this, like,
does that interest you? What interests you about that?
About trying new things?
No, I guess trying new things, and both. I mean, just trying new things.
So for the coaching thing, I think me personally, like, I'm on the cusp of really doing like bigger things, like making like real money and like building wealth and like just like moving the pieces in the right place instead of just like trying to moving them around and like on my own and just seeing what happens, but being a little bit more targeted.
More specific.
Exactly. I don't know if it's gonna help. I just know that I haven't been taught a lot of the tools for like career, and when like you helped me with my LLC, like, bro, like, I didn't know anything about LLC and taxes, and like they didn't teach me this stuff in school, man. So like, how to be like an adult, and like I'm actually like making some money and like figuring out like what my next like steps are, and like just having extra eyes on it and ears, and just someone, like a coach isn't like a therapist, but they're like a future therapist. It's like where I want to see myself, and how do we get there, and how do we put our heads together to figure it out together, and luckily, like, I'm able to, take a journey with this person and see if it works out. I don't know if it is, but like I said, it's just good to try new things. And
so someone else is the coach.
Someone else is the coach. Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Cool.
So they're going to be coaching me. And like I said, it's a new thing, but I'm open to new things and just trying. Yeah. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. I feel like there's a slight inclination, like if someone said like, hey, Nate, like, I think you should do this life coaching course because of XYZ, and I trust that person, I'm like, oh, what an opportunity to find out, because this person said so, who I trust so dearly.
And that's how it kind of happened with me. Like, for me, I'm like, I'm going to pay someone all this money for them to like tell me some stuff that like I could probably just figure out on my own. And like, I go back and forth with that. Like, do I really need this, and is it going to be beneficial and help?
Well, it's crazy that you say that, because back to that business guy I was talking about, Alex Ramosi, he paid, I think, a coach $45,000 to teach him how to think better. Mm-hmm. And
For sure.
He was like, that was the best $45,000 I've ever spent in my entire life. And it's hard to get your mind through that, especially for people who can't like conceptualize spending their net worth on like someone teaching them how to think better.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like, think about like, okay, like you invested in like the setup, for instance.
Sure.
Why? Because it's like going to help you in your podcast. 100%. It's going to make it better, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you do the same thing into yourself? Like invest into you to make yourself better. It's the same thing with like me buying a new lens. Like I buy a new lens to like get better and like grow my photography. But like, when are we like investing in ourselves? And like, when have I invested in myself other than, you know, I guess you could say like, oh, taking these steps and these jumps are doing that. Yeah. But also like, no, I'm actually paying someone to like help me get better. Like I'm actually investing in myself.
Like what would this be a good example? It's like you probably gained your photography skills and experience from doing it, from watching a YouTube video, from actually taking the photo and learning how to edit and fuck around. How much faster would it be if an expert photographer like walked you through every single step?
Dude, I mean, I've reached out many times to like people that inspire me, or like artists that I know that I really love and want to be like. And I'm just like, bro, like I will come and I'll like hold your shit. Yeah. I'll hold your light. Like just stand there and learn. Like that. Yeah. To me is the biggest opportunity. If you ever get a chance, like anyone that's like wanting to do something or a craft or learn something, like reach out to the people that you want to be like and just like try to work with them and like put yourself in the same room, pick their brain, like see what they're doing, do what they're doing.
Because like that's the biggest thing. Like going back to the coach thing, it's if someone who knows the answer for like your life or like that aspect of what you're trying to solve about yourself, like invest in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I haven't done, like I said, but I'm willing to see like where it goes, and I'm not that kind of person, you know. Like I don't want to like open up.
I'm excited for you. I want to see what happens.
I'm excited too. It's gonna be crazy. And like my friend Ivan has been telling me to do this forever.
Shout out to Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan.
He's so funny. He knows Zach. Like he knows I personally train with this guy Zach, and they do a ton of photo shoots together.
Oh wait, the one he just did with the guy on the beach.
Yes, that's
bro.
Zach.
That photo is incredible.
Yeah, it's iconic.
The way that they also like, you know, that's a funny story. For instance, like that Zach is not someone that would necessarily be going and doing those photo shoots and like do stuff like that. No. But that's like, you know, what he said to Ivan was like that moment, and like how Ivan made him feel that comfortable and like be able to express that photo. Like like it's a picture of a naked dude, and I'm not like necessarily like into all that, but like just the expression, like it's such a cool photo. If you guys get a chance, Mr. Lizard on Instagram, it's an amazing photo. It captures just everything.
Yeah, and the fact that like he's not comfortable doing that, and Ivan got him into a space where he's comfortable doing that, and like you're portraying like this like freedom.
Absolutely.
Like that's like that photo just describes like I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want to do in this world. Like that's what I got out of it, at least, you know.
Definitely, yeah. And just like we go back to like making people feel comfortable and like being able to do that and like get those kind of results. I mean, that is a skill on its own, and it doesn't have anything to do with the camera.
Yeah, dude, bringing out the best in people is so hard to do. Like that's what I try to do, like from these conversations. I'm like, how can I get these feelings out of the people, like the true ones, you know? Because like so many people are just surface level and they answer questions just because like it's vulnerable to get deep. It's vulnerable to like bring out those thoughts and like beliefs that might not align with someone else.
It is,
you know.
I mean, it is, but you do a very good job. I think that's also why like you're a personal trainer. Thanks, and why people feel comfortable with you. Like personal training is a tough thing, especially like if you're not confident in your body and like having to go and work with someone and see them like watch you struggle and like it's not tough. Like they have to feel comfortable with you. Yeah. So it's the same thing like on that aspect, on this aspect. Like you're genuinely just having a conversation with someone, just getting to know them, and they're choosing to reveal themselves to you.
Because the comfortability part mostly.
Yeah, same thing.
What's your favorite form of photography for yourself? like your pure enjoyment.
I mean,
of like, this is what I like doing and creating this image, like for me to frame in my room, and I'm like, or for you to have on your screensaver.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
for me, I mean, you already know, I love landscape photography. That's my thing. That's kind of like why I started everything. It's just something about like climbing to the top of a mountaintop, or like being out in the desert, like at nowhere at like 4 a.m. and there's no humans around you. There's just something so special about that. Being able to trek to places that are difficult to get and that most people won't see, I think is really like drives me. Like, where can I go that's like so far off the map, away, top of like whatever. So definitely landscape photography, like so it's more than just photography for me at that point. It's like getting in nature and becoming a part of nature. So like really being able to sit in a moment and not make noise. Like, humans are very noisy. They're very loud. They create disturbances. So like when you're able to just like sit in a moment and just be quiet, and then kind of just let Mother Nature come into like view and just like be able to act natural around you. Like all of a sudden you'll have like there's this one time in Costa Rica, I was on this I was in Manuel Antonio. I was out in the middle of nowhere. There was literally no one there, and I sat there and just really quiet for about 45 minutes. And all of a sudden, like, these deer started coming out, and just like right in front of me. And then so cool. These monkeys will come out. Like, the nature like starts to reveal itself to you because you're a part of it at that point. Like, you're not like
you're a noisy human.
Exactly. Like, we're always so disconnected and away from it. And so like just being able to like submerge yourself in that environment and just become a part of nature instead of separate.
And it's crazy how far we are from it, because like I went like near Joshua Tree the other day. We went camping for a night, like underneath the stars and everything. And the amount of people who are in like my close friend group who are like, you're sleeping on the ground in the desert? And I was like, yeah. They're like, I would never do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sucks for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, there's something like, experiencing life that way. Rugged, like getting out somewhere and like, you've been out in the middle of nowhere, you haven't showered for a week, and like, it's uncomfortable, but you're in the most beautiful place ever, and there's just something special about it. And it's not for everyone, but you're gonna see something that other people will never see. And that's really important, for me at least. I love just getting out there.
I didn't think about landscape or nature photography like that. The way you described it, it's very romantic.
And I guess it is for me. It is very romantic, and it has nothing to do with that has nothing to do with photography. Like, and then I'm just taking a picture after, but like it's already out there, and just getting out there and just really enjoying it. Like, I love Mother Nature. I love. Yeah.
What's the importance, I guess, to travel for you, or like seeing other parts of the world? Like, what does that do to the human psyche or the human experience?
For me, it's everything. Like, that's why I do everything that I like. That's why I do what I do in order to like go travel more. So like, I'll work super hard just to like save money to go to like new places. So like, I'm from Arizona. Arizona is a big place, but it's very small-minded, and a lot of people that are from there don't leave there. And like, same thing like with my family, like they haven't really had the chance to like travel and experience the world. And I feel like in order to be a successful human being, like especially in America, like we're so uncultured, and like to be able to go and like learn more about the world and see how other places operate, and like learn the respect of like other cultures and customs, and know that there's a huge world out there, and like like the United States like isn't shit compared to like a lot of places. Like, it's a beautiful country, and I'm so thankful to be born here and allow the opportunity to like go and travel. But it's just, we're very, sometimes, especially in Arizona, it's just not cultured, and it's just like very like white America, and like Olive Garden and fucking Chili's and like, you know what I mean? So that for me, like moving out of there, and just, I'm like, there's such a big world, and wanting to like learn about other like cultures and stuff like that.
That's what I think we should redefine some aspect of success as, because I feel like every place that I've been to, like I only went out of the country like I think 3 years ago, but like I hit Asia already, I hit Europe, I hit Mexico, like all these places, and you come back as a different human.
Definitely.
A different person, because you have experienced a totally different lifestyle that is quote unquote normal to you when you just saw someone else's normal.
Yeah.
You know?
It's, for me, there's no feeling like it. Like getting on that plane and that excitement, that feeling that you have.
Yeah.
And just going and figure things out. Like sometimes like I don't even really, like I'll book like some things, but I'll leave like most of it open just because like chances are you're going to meet people and you're like, things are going to happen. And
you see where it takes you.
Exactly. And there's something so beautiful about doing that. Like I did that when I was in Costa Rica, and I ended up meeting like the best people in my life that I still talk to this day. And they like just welcomed me into their world and showed me like things that I would never have been able to like find on my own, especially as like a white tourist that like doesn't really speak Spanish at all.
Sure.
And like they just like welcomed me into their home and their life and just showed me these things. And it's like, that is the real authentic way. And I mean, if you're lucky enough to experience it in that way, like God, it's incredible.
Yeah, because experiencing I guess that different world as a tourist versus someone who's actually in it is completely different.
So different. And it's not like, it doesn't just happen, you know. You gotta be lucky and be like welcomed into it and invited. And it doesn't happen to everyone, but like if you've ever wanted to just get out and like go book a trip and you like talking to people and you're friendly, like just go and you'll meet people. And
it's everywhere.
Yeah. If you're a good person, you'll meet good people and they'll show you the way.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I guess, it happens here too, dude. And like when I first moved out here, you don't know like the things about LA. Like it's kind of intimidating. Like there's this big city, you don't know that many people. But like, for example, like during COVID, I kind of got in the surfing crew in like Santa Monica, Venice. And they're like, hey, you park over here. Like you'll find parking every single time. And I'm like, what? Like, don't you have to pay $50 or $30 or at this park? Like, no, dude, like that's just like a small thing. And this like, they're like, okay, it's easier than I thought. You know, for example, this mountain running stuff that we're probably going to do right after this.
Let's go.
We're going to go to Wisdom Tree and maybe Hollywood Side when we get there. But basically, these guys that I met at the gym, they all run like kind of barefooted up these mountains. And then they do it like within 30 minutes to an hour at their lunch break. See all over LA. They have this like euphoric experience of just like climbing a mountain, very animalistic. And then you see this cement jungle we live in and you appreciate it because like you're breathing in the fresh air and you're just like,
fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh LA air.
I mean, fresh, like higher, like in the mountains. And then like, you're just looking at this cement jungle saying like, oh, it's not that deep. Like the people out there who are having all these problems, like it's not that deep because it's small, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like we're just lucky to even be here existing. Yeah.
And so just like getting into those like little communities or like off a plane and being open-minded to like experiencing some random part of your life with these people that you don't have no clue who they are. You know, like I feel like that's the win.
Yeah, definitely. You know? For me, it is for sure. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude. What advice do you have people to turn like their art into a business? Because I feel like some people have the problem of, not the problem, I would say the intimidation of, I don't want to lose my love for art because I'm going to turn it into a business.
Yeah,
you know?
That's so funny. Did I say that to you? I feel like I just said this to someone. It's like, sometimes I feel like an imposter because I'm like trying to make money off of like what I love doing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, like you're doing it for the wrong reason now. And like, you're a sellout and this is not what you intended. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I just had this conversation with someone where I'm like, sometimes I feel bad or I'm like, I don't want to lose sight of that love because if that love leaves, like what do I have?
What do you have left? Because you put in so much energy into it.
Yeah. So I think I'm just like so lucky to be able to do something that I really have loved for so long and I don't see it leaving at any time. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I just bought a new lens and I'm so excited about it. And like, that's all I put my money towards. Yeah. And it's like, it's not healthy.
Or is it uber healthy?
I mean, it's debatable. But nah, it'll be good. But see, like, I'm obsessed with it and I love it. And so I think I'll always enjoy it. So for me, it's a win-win. But it's like that imposter syndrome kind of thing. It's like, you know, I'm like, you don't really deserve to be like making money off of it. Are you even that good? Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's tough. Like, people, especially like brands and like businesses, put a lot of trust into me. And so like carrying that like weight and responsibility, I guess I don't really think about it a lot, but it's there for sure. But luckily, like, I'm kind of just in that like natural flow of like of doing things and making it happen, and it's just like it's clicking for me. So it's working, but it's just it can be tough. It can be really tough, but I feel like I love it. I'll continue to love it. If I can make some money on it, great. If I can't, I'll still do it regardless. Just because I love it. But fuck yeah, dude, if you can make money off of like your art, fuck, you're winning. Like, go do it. Fucking do it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We'll end it there, guys.
Yeah.
Go check Casey out, Mr. Eiland.
Yeah, Mr. Mister Eiland.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
And then go check out his stuff. He's a really talented guy. Yeah, I think most of his stuff's like landscape photography.
Yeah, mostly on there it's my landscape.
If there's anybody who wants to work with you, where do they hit you up on Instagram?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram. My website's linked there, so you can always reach out through there. But usually DMs, I respond right away.
Sweet. Ready to go on a hike, bro?
Let's go.
Let's do it. And we'll get you on again soon, bro.
Yeah,
because
thanks for
I feel like
me,
we
man.
have some spaces we gotta do.
Nah, that's cool. This is fun.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers,
Peace.
bro.